Hey everybody, here we are today. We have this iMac that was supposed to be just a hard drive replacement and kind of threw us a curveball and a monkey wrench. So I want to share that with you guys out there. Probably somebody's going to run into something similar to this and maybe this helps. So this came in with no hard drive present, starts up, folder on the desktop, right? No hard drive. Customer called about that. He tried to give me this whole story of, you know, the history, and sometimes I cut people off and I just want to know really what's going on right now. So basically that was the bottom line. Yeah, I booted up, I get a folder on the desktop, I can't get to the desktop. I spoke with Apple, and I guess they went into recovery mode or something like that. And this utility doesn't see a hard drive. Okay, fine. So you got a bad hard drive. We replaced the hard drive, gave them an estimate. That's going to be that simple. But it turned out to not be that simple, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing the video. So this unit here came. He had a 3 terabyte hard drive, and he's got like almost 2 terabytes full. So we replaced it with a 2 terabyte drive. So popped that in there, did the installation, everything, you know, pretty smooth, pretty normal. And after the installation, I see, you know, I come back to it, it had given me a restart, gave me an error. The unit has restarted. Basically it crashed. Thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe it was doing an update, what have you. Continued doing updates, playing some YouTube videos, things like that, and yeah, it kept restarting. So it was crashing and restarting. Thought that was kind of strange. At first I thought maybe the installation had some type of problem, so reformatted, reinstalled Catalina again just in case maybe something was going on there. And sure enough, after that second installation, same thing, crashing. Still scratching my head there, what's going on? So I spoke to the customer to get some of that story that I had cut him off that I didn't want to hear. So I have to call him back and tell him, yeah, tell me a little bit more about the story behind it, because he told me he had spent I don't know how much time with Apple support trying to figure out what was going on in the machine, what was going on with the machine. So I'm figuring, yeah, there's probably something else, you know, going on here. And the story behind, before it, you know, went completely dead, was he was having crashes, kernel panics, crashes, things like that, periodically, and it was just getting worse and worse till eventually it died completely, and that's when he brought it in. So I thought there, since, you know, fresh installation, maybe there's something else going on, something on the board, maybe a cable, you know, the SATA cable, something like that could be creating a problem. Not sure. He also told me that the problem started after an update of Catalina. So I'm thinking maybe there's an update that's creating a problem with this unit. It's 2014. Could be a software problem. Bottom line is trying to get some clues as to, you know, which way to go. The next step, since I spoke to him about that, that he said it was an update from Catalina, I said, well, maybe we'll drop back one version, one OS, to see if it, you know, works with another OS. Which incidentally, I had been booting this unit with a High Sierra even prior to the repair. When a unit comes in, before getting into this whole repair, we're going to test the unit. We're going to put an external drive on it and boot it off an external drive, test the unit, see if everything is fine before getting into a disassembly, especially of these with this glass that's adhered, and you got to get into all that. And it passed everything. Everything was working fine. So I told him, yeah, everything's fine with the unit. We're going to go ahead and just replace the drive. Thinking that was High Sierra, said maybe there's a software problem with Catalina. So we're going to go with a fresh installation of the High Sierra. Go to this utility. We're going to format the drive, and I noticed an extra drive on the list, which I hadn't seen before, because before I had been there, formatted that, I had run first aid several times, right? Since it was crashing, run first aid a couple of times just to make sure there's nothing, corrupt going on. And I hadn't seen that other drive. So when I see that 128, I kind of said, Of course, the light bulb clicks, and you guys are probably saying, of course, it has a fusion drive. But yes, right? Hindsight is 2020. Now, looking at it in retrospect, duh, right? So that 128 gigabyte SSD is this little guy. And this is what a fusion drive is. The combination of an SSD and a regular drive, and the software manages the information. It puts over here the things that are being used more often. So you're kind of getting the speed of an SSD and getting the storage of a regular hard drive, and this being 3 terabytes. The guy needed a lot of storage and was using it. He was using a lot of almost 2 terabytes of it. So that's what a fusion drive is. Combine these two. Nowadays, you don't need that anymore. I mean, solid states have gone, way down. Granted, most people don't need 2 terabytes or 3 of a solid state, or even 1 for that matter. So about this little guy here, when I see it there, I said, well, let me just format that. So if I format, I was going to format it in exFAT or FAT32 or something that, the OS was not going to be able to use it as a fusion drive, because I didn't want to do that anyway. It's got a solid state. We don't need fusion. So let's just format that, FAT32. I think I probably did FAT32. So it could be used. Computer crashed. Couldn't format it. Restarted the computer again, and it never appeared. So that was a fluke that it appeared there. So it never appeared, but that was a clue that something is going on. And since we were getting those blue screens, or not those blue screens, those kernel panics that were related to SATA, AHCI, drive, something to that effect, then that was a clue that something was going on with this. Now we were able to pull this out without disassembling the board. This is behind the motherboard. Here you have a big speaker, and then behind the board, you got this little guy back there. If you're looking at some videos, all the videos are going to show that you got to take the whole motherboard out, and I mean the board, the power supply, it's a full disassembly pretty much just to get this little sucker out. But we were able to get it out without disassembling. So there's a tip for you right there, that if you run into this problem, this has a pretty good size. The head on the screw holding this in place back here is pretty good size. You can actually get to it with a plier. So that's what we did. We were able to get in there and with a plier unscrew that and get it off, and that pretty much cleared the problem. I put this on a Mac, and yeah, it's dead, no good. So that was the culprit that was creating the problem. This drive in the end wind up being bad as well. It can't mount. It's corrupt as well. Maybe it's just corrupt and it actually is workable. Not sure, but it really doesn't matter at this point. We got a 2 terabyte solid state drive inside, and the computer is good to go. So keep that in mind on some of these units with these fusions. Remember, you got the 2 drives, and if this one is creating some havoc on you, you might not think about it. It might just be back there creating all the havoc that it was here. So heads up, and take a look for that fusion, for that SSD, if it's possibly there, and you can just remove it. Actually, I mean, if you're going solid state, you're just going to remove it. You don't need that there at all. And that's what's going on today at PC 911.